A show of force in the Pacific. America sends a message to China. War games intensify near Taiwan and Australia, rattling Beijing. Allies prepare for the worst as military movements surge. The world watches as the US and its allies flex military muscle. Sirens wail. Jets tear through azure skies. Warships slice Pacific waves off Australia and the Philippines. The balance of power in Asia is being tested, and the world holds its breath. The jungle humidity in the Philippines is suffocating. Every movement draws beads of sweat, and every breath tastes metallic from gunpowder and burning fuel. Palms sway as armored convoys grind forward, their tracks kicking up clouds of dust and grit. The sharp crack of rifles echoes through the air, punctuated by the boom of artillery in the distance. Heat shimmers off the tanks as US Marines, side by side with Australian and Filipino troops, practice amphibious assaults. The clash of boots on steel decks and the shout of drill instructors create a relentless rhythm. Nearby, F-35 fighters scream overhead, leaving vapor trails as they simulate attack runs. Reporters are allowed rare access, just long enough to witness the controlled chaos. Faces are set in grim determination. Supplies move in endless lines, crates of ammunition, jerry cans of water, cases of medical gear. Medics and engineers work in tandem, patching up both men and machines. It's not just about practice, it's about forging trust and confidence. Each drill is a rehearsal for a scenario nobody wants to see become real. But every participant knows in this environment, mistakes cost lives. Why is the world's most powerful military focusing on these remote shores? China's rapid rise has worried Washington and its allies. The Indo-Pacific is now the world's most critical arena for influence and security. The South China Sea is a crossroads for shipping, energy, and geopolitics. China's artificial islands and military outposts have drawn US attention. Tensions over Taiwan have soared, with the US pledging support for the island. The US aims to deter conflict, not start one. The goal: show strength, reassure allies, and raise the cost of aggression. The exercises are not just for show, they display the next generation of military technology, from stealth jets to hypersonic missiles. On Australia's northern coast, HIMARS rocket systems launch volleys over the horizon. In the Philippine archipelago, amphibious assault vehicles storm ashore, backed by drones buzzing overhead. The US Navy's aircraft carriers, floating cities bristling with fighters and missiles, dominate the waves. The sheer scale is overwhelming, says Australian defense analyst Rebecca Doyle. It's a message: we're ready and we're watching. War games simulate everything from missile strikes to cyber attacks, pushing troops and commanders to the edge. F-35 Lightning IIs streak across the sky, invisible to radar, while US Marines practice rapid deployment with Osprey tilt rotors. Underwater, nuclear submarines remain hidden, tracking every movement below the surface. This is modern warfare, fast, networked, and lethal. The seriousness is unmistakable. Weapons are loaded, communications are encrypted. Every scenario is played out, because if conflict comes, there will be no time for rehearsal. At the center of this storm lie two flashpoints. The South China Sea, claimed almost entirely by China, is also claimed in part by Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, and others. Its islands and reefs, bristle with radar and missile systems. Tensions flare with every so-called freedom of navigation patrol by US or allied ships. Taiwan, just 100 miles from the Chinese mainland, looms even larger. China calls it a breakaway province. The US, while not recognizing Taiwan as a separate country, sells it arms and promises to help defend its democracy. For Beijing, this is a red line. For Washington, a test of credibility. Any miscalculation could lead to disaster, warns Professor Mei Lin of Tsinghua University. Neither side wants war, but neither wants to back down. The region's dense trade routes and vital undersea cables only raise the stakes. The world's attention is, honestly, fixed here. The fate of global trade, energy flows, and regional peace hangs in the balance. Every exercise, every patrol, is part of a high-stakes chess game. US commanders are, well, blunt. We're building partnerships, not picking fights, says Colonel Frank Watson, leading drills in Mindanao. Australian Defence Minister Lisa Reynolds tells 60 Minutes, "We stand with our allies because our security is tied together." Philippine officials stress sovereignty, even as they welcome American support, but Chinese analysts see things differently. This is containment, not cooperation, argues Zhong Xin, a senior fellow at the China Institute of International Studies. He warns that US moves could spark a regional arms race, undermining years of economic progress. Local leaders are caught in the middle. The mayor of Palawan, near contested waters, tells us, "We want peace, but we can't ignore threats." Many in the region fear being forced to pick sides. As the drills unfold, think tanks and diplomats debate, can deterrence really bring stability, or does it just bring danger closer? The conversations are heated, but one point unites all sides. The margin for error is vanishingly small. Behind the big machines and headlines are thousands of men and women living the reality of joint military life. For U.S. Marine Sergeant Alex Ramirez, days start before dawn. It's humid, it's tough, but you've got your team, he says, wiping grime from his face after a 20-mile march. Australian Corporal Stacey Mills describes learning from Filipino soldiers about jungle survival. You respect their skills. Out here, you need each other. Meals are hurried, showers are rare, letters from home are treasured. The constant roar of jets and gunfire is a nightly lullaby, but camaraderie and purpose keep spirits high. You know why you're here, says Philippine Navy Ensign Rafael Cruz. We train hard so we never have to fight hard. There are moments of fear, mind-sweeping, live fire drills, but also of laughter, shared meals, and new friendships. Still, the strain shows. Long absences from family, uncertainty about the future, and the ever-present what-if of conflict weigh on every soldier's mind as they fall asleep under foreign stars. On one side, US and allied officials argue that a strong military presence keeps the peace. Our economies depend on open seas and stability, says Australian trade envoy Mark Evans. If we let aggression go unchecked, everyone pays. The Philippines echoes this, citing past clashes with China over fishing and reefs. China's government, however, sees hypocrisy. Why should the Pacific be an American lake? Asks a spokesman from the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Our development is peaceful, but we must defend our interests. Chinese scholars add that regional security should be managed locally, not imposed from Washington or Canberra. Businesses across Asia are anxious. A single clash could disrupt supply chains for years, warns a Singaporean shipping executive. Farmers, traders, and students watch the news, hoping leaders will choose dialogue over confrontation. The stakes go far beyond war and peace. They reach into every home, every paycheck, and every plan for the future in the world's most dynamic region. This is not the first time American boots have tread on these islands. During World War II, the US fought bitter battles in the Philippines, forging a lifelong alliance. For decades, Clark Air Base and Subic Bay were American strongholds, until 1992, when the Philippine Senate demanded their closure, wary of foreign power. But times have changed. China's assertiveness has driven Manila to invite the US back, signing new base agreements and expanding joint patrols. Australia, too, has shifted, boosting defense spending, updating its alliances, and building its own northern bases. Old memories shape today's choices. Many Filipinos recall both the benefits and the burdens of hosting foreign forces. Australians debate how much to spend, how far to go. Yet, as one retired general put it, we can't afford nostalgia. The world is moving fast. The lines of cooperation and competition are being redrawn, echoing history but shaped by new realities. As the sun sets over the South China Sea, the roar of jets fades, but the tension lingers. The risk of misunderstanding, an accidental clash, a misread signal, haunts every planner and politician. One wrong move, and the region could spiral into conflict with global consequences. Leaders know what's at stake: peace, prosperity, and the future of billions. We must talk, not just train, says an Australian diplomat. Deterrence only works if everyone understands the rules. Chinese scholars agree. Dialogue is vital, but trust is fragile. The Indo-Pacific is a region of opportunity and danger. The drills are a warning and a plea. As both sides build up, the challenge is not just to show strength, but to build understanding. The world is watching, hoping that the flexing of muscle will not become a trigger for tragedy. In the end, the greatest test is not of weapons, but of wisdom.